Welcome back. We to preview Saturday's Premier League match between West Ham United and Burnley at Upton Park. Pascal stopped the away side. Really disappointing result against Leicester last time. That.
Yeah, it was obviously a massive game for them. Sort of all the games before that, they had that horrible run. I think it was 7 of the 8 games against the sides in the top 7 they had, and the other one was against Everton, who are playing better at the moment. So they had that sort of run of fixtures finished, and they had 5 games to finish the season, which on paper they all look okay. And this was the biggest of them all, at home to Leicester. Obviously, one of the other sides that they came up with last season, right there at the bottom with them. And Leicester went into that; they were on fantastic form, 3 wins in a row going into that game. But Burnley, they probably will feel they probably should have won that game. They had some fantastic chances. Kasper Schmeichel made countless. He had some brilliant saves in there, and they also missed a penalty as well. Look at them and QPR both missed penalties this season. It's just something you can't do if you're trying to stay up. You have, if you get given a penalty, you have to score it, no matter what. Matt Taylor comes up. He hasn't played that much this season, Matt Taylor, but obviously strikes the ball very well, struck the penalty very well, but off the outside of the post. And when the keeper goes the wrong way like that, you wonder, does it have to be that accurate? But if the keeper goes the right way, it does have to be that accurate. So it's hard to criticise him for going right into the corner, but he didn't do it. And obviously Leicester go almost instantly up the other end, score the goal. It was a brilliant cross from Mark Albrighton, but I think Burnley didn't defend it very well. Michael Duff came across. He could have got a better contact on it, but then the keeper just gets there in time, and Jamie Vardy's just the most alert player there in the box to bundle it in. So a disappointing goal to concede from them, but I think on the whole, Sean Dyche, their goal struggles, we're going to talk about that in a second, but they did create chances in that game. It's not like they didn't have chances. Danny Ings had a couple. Kasper Schmeichel, like I said, he made some fantastic saves. So it wasn't certainly the worst performance in their recent poor run, but it's just not quite going their way at the moment. And as it stands, it looks like they're going down.
Yeah, it certainly does. Rooted to the bottom of the table at the minute, propping up the division. And I think when you looked at the game when they beat Manchester City 1-0, didn't they, at Turf Moor? That great goal from Boyd, and you think maybe could they push on from there, but lost 4 of their last 5 and failed to score in those as well. Only 1 goal in the last 7. So goals have dried up from Danny Ings, and you're looking at after that, Jukovic, Marvin Sordell, Ashley Barnes. I think Sam Vokes has obviously had his problems, but you can't really see from midfield. Scott Arfield did okay earlier in the season. Apart from that, you just never really feel that there's enough goals in the team. At the back, like I said, they're decent. Shackle's a good player, like Shackle at the back, but it's just you worry about them down the other end, don't you? And obviously, this is another massive game, and the fact that they are bottom of the table, 5 points from safety as it stands, and if you can't score, then you don't win games, and they're not good enough to really. Early in the season, defensively, they were very good, but they were keeping clean sheets here and there. But I think lack of goals has been the story all season. If you don't score enough goals, then you're going to go down. I think that's ultimately going to be the case.
Definitely. And you look at their run in now, even though they had that really tough run of fixtures, even though that's finished now, 3 of their last 4 games are away from home. West Ham here, then Hull and Villa. 2 of the sides down at the bottom with them, but away from home all season they've really struggled. Just 1 win away from home. That was at Stoke. Apart from that, they've lost so many games away from home. Their home form has been what sort of kept them just about in the race to stay up, but away from home they've been poor. And when you look at the fact that 3 of their last 4 do come away from home, it's hard to imagine them staying up, to be honest. And overall, form has been very poor, and away games coming up, it's hard to not back them to go down. To be honest, they are really struggling.
Yeah, they are really struggling. It's not quite terminal, but West Ham on the other hand, it's been a decent season, but recently it's been disappointing, and it dropped into the bottom half of the table after Everton beat Manchester United into 11th, and I think that's really disappointing. You're looking at them battling Stoke and Swansea to finish 8th, and I think 8th would have been a good total. They still got a little bit of a chance finishing 8th, but you'd fancy Everton to finish above them on this run, and Swansea and Stoke. So obviously Swansea and Stoke play each other this weekend, so someone's going to drop points, or both are going to drop points. But last time out against QPR, it was QPR at home have not been good recently, and West Ham will fancy maybe going there and make a statement. London derby, obviously took a good group of fans there, and just disappointing game. QPR obviously missed a penalty and had a goal disallowed, so they maybe had the best of it. But Cresswell, who's had a good season at left back, hit the crossbar, didn't he? With a lovely free kick, and he's been decent this season. He's been one of their standouts. But look at the rest of their players, like Kouyaté and Song, gone a bit sort of off the boil, haven't they? Sacco's had his injury problems. Valencia's done okay, but the goals have not been there. Carlton Cole doesn't really contribute enough, and Carroll's obviously injured, so disappointing recently. And if they do end up finishing the bottom half, I think that does put pressure on Sam Allardyce.
I think it does, certainly. From where they were, sort of around Christmas time, being surprisingly right near the top 4 they were. So it has been disappointing sort of since then. Just 2 wins in 17 league games since then. But when you compare this season on the whole to last, it has been an improvement. They got 40 points last season. They're already on 44 for this season. So say they win, 3 of their last 4, they can climb, about 13 points better than what they got last season. So if they do that, you'd have to say, when you look at the bigger picture, that it's a drastic improvement. But
it's just more the dip in form from where they were. You know, some of the results they were getting, the performances they were putting in the first half of the season, just how downhill it's gone. So it's hard to imagine that Allardyce, unless they really do finish the season brilliantly and score a few goals, get some really sort of rousing performances in, that he'll be under a lot of pressure this summer. I've seen Eddie Howe has been linked with the job. Eddie Howe, the football that his Bournemouth side play is brilliant, but I mean, now that Bournemouth are promoted to the Championship, it's hard to see him leaving unless someone throws silly money at him and Bournemouth say, right, we need that compensation. We can't really turn that down. But I think personally that Eddie Howe's going to give it a go with Bournemouth. He loves the town. He's been there quite a while. He's sort of overseen their rise, up into the Premier League. So if he leaves, it'd be very surprising. But I think West Ham, they should maybe give Allardyce another go. He's a decent, proven manager at this level, and what he's done this season, like I said, it has improved their season overall. But they'll certainly want to finish the season on the high. And they've got winnable games. Burnley here, Villa next, then Everton and Newcastle to finish. So a pretty decent run in. If they can get a few wins, it'd be good for them.
Yeah, certainly be good. You do wonder whether West Ham sort of want a European manager, don't you? With obviously their stadium move, stuff like that, getting new players in. You just get the feeling, from little murmurings that have said that they want sort of a big name, that dream manager. And Allardyce is a very good manager, but he's not really a massive name in terms of European football. So you do wonder about that. But it's obviously a bigger game for Burnley, obviously. But West Ham, obviously home supporters, we keen to get another win. What do you think the score prediction will be this one?
I think we've talked about Burnley's goal struggles. No goal in 5 for them. I can't really see them ending it here. I think the way they go, and they could be relegated in sort of maybe 2 or 3 games time. And I'm just going to back West Ham to edge this 2-0.
So I'm actually going to completely agree as well. Like I say, Burnley, you fancy them maybe to pull out a result here or there, but they just don't score enough goals, do they? And West Ham, they will be favourites at home patch. I think they'll win 2-0 as well. So we're both going for 2-0. West Ham wins in this one. Thanks for joining us.